Hello and welcome to our week 4. You should be in modules 3 and 4. If you're not completing module 3, then you are a little bit behind in regards to working and meeting the deadlines and timelines. So I would encourage you to move ahead. You should have already completed reading check quiz number 4, which was due on the 24th. And now you should be wrapping up your collaborative group work, activity 1 and activity 2. The purpose of those activities was to provide you with an opportunity to kind of practice creating your UDL lesson plan. And you could have taken pieces from that and then put it into your own lesson plan that's due for the midterm December 2nd. However, I've gotten a few emails stating that some people have not heard from their group or they haven't been able to start the collaborative process. With that, which can cause a great issue, I just wanted you to know that collaborative group projects are being graded individually and collectively. So it was assigned as a collective project, but you will get an individual grade, which means that feel free to create your part of the principal without your group members. If that's the situation that you're in, just communicate that and let me know, and then contribute to them what you can kind of get together and put it together as a group when people have moved on to that part of the project. But really, by module 4, which is, you should be in module 3 and 4 this week, you should really be done with your collaborative group work, and I should have received some invites from your cast studio. So I haven't received any invites. I know one group communicated that they had to upload it as a Word document. If that's what you're doing as well, please let me know so that I can make note of it, because originally I didn't want you to have to download a lesson plan per se. You were supposed to do the editing and everything in the cast studio just for practice, for a professional resource. If that's not working out for you, let me know. Okay, moving on. Due this week is the reading quiz number 5. Midterm project step 3 check-in, which includes step 3 and step 4 of the midterm project. And then midterm project is obviously due on December 2nd. So in regards to grading, I've finished all of module 1 and the first module. I am moving into module 2 and grading module 3. I try to grade on the deadlines of the reading quiz check projects, or reading quiz check reading reading check quiz deadlines. Sorry about that, because I don't want to have to keep going back and checking people's things and then people wondering, when is this going to be graded? When is this going to be graded? So today you will get feedback for your midterm project check-in number 2. And I hope to have module 3 graded today as well. But if not, you'll see that grade. You'll see some type of grade by Tuesday evening, really late probably. Next. So the way that the rest of the course is working is that you should be working in between modules, because the start week was really just to introduce you to the course and kind of get you going. Then you should have gladly moved into, or quickly moved into, module 1 and combine modules 2 and 3, and now you should be in module 4. So for the rest of this course, I will put a planning sheet out for you so that you can plan ahead how you should do the next 3 weeks, because we technically only have 3 weeks left in the course if we're not including this week. We're literally in the middle of the course. The last week, module 9, is a summation of your collaborative group selections. Your group will create the reading or the posts to focus on, and you'll also create all the resources. There are only 3 groups, so 3 groups will create the content, and that's what you will gain points from. So it's super important that you stay on track, because you have to have module 9 completed, obviously, so people can have resources. We're depending on you. So please focus on the planning sheet that I add at the end. Let's see, a couple of other things. So far, great work. I love using peer examples to kind of let people know what needs to be done and what should be created. I am responding to the teach back and things that I've seen with those. Please make sure you're following with announcements. When I see something that's kind of that needs to be addressed really quickly, I make an announcement about it without a video. Um, I did release a announcement regarding the quality of the teach bags. Some of them were really, really great, and then some of them it seemed like people misunderstood the directions, which I figured you didn't have to have direction or rubric for those because they're pretty simple. I've used them in both higher ed and also secondary settings where you allow the student to show what they know in their own way. So a teach back is really you teaching back what you've learned. It's a pretty simple assignment. However, I can see where there can be misunderstandings in a virtual environment. So, if I add some other ones in, which I plan to maybe add one or two, I'll replace another assignment so that you don't feel overwhelmed. If you're having challenges with meeting deadlines, I know that this is a busy season. There are a lot of holidays and a lot of family time. And overall, this time of the year as an educator, I used to always feel like if I could just make it to Christmas break or the next break, I will be fine. Because it seems like the students are anxious and there's a lot going on. So I totally understand. As I am both a educator and a student, and I'm a researcher, so I have like a million to-do lists. But I want you to remember what I said to you at the very beginning, which is that I'm not here to cause you any harm. I do have good intentions behind each aspect of the course. That's why there isn't any busy work. Everything is intended for you to have professional development and be able to use this to improve your practice and also gain strengths within your evaluations as educators. So that's one of the things that I got a lot of feedback from in other PGP courses where students were able to use what they learned and grow professionally on their evaluation. Um, so summative or the formative ones that they have. So for this course is the same goal. If you're having issues meeting deadlines, communicate that to me because ultimately I am just helping you try to grow professionally and also get you some more points on your evaluation. That's pretty much it. I'm not trying to stress your life out. So keep in mind, really quickly, goals for this week: get your collaborative group work done. If you're smart about it, you will put aspects into it that you can use for your lesson. And then creating your midterm project should be a lot easier. The feedback that I give you from step one and step two, you should integrate those into your project prior to submission, and I will be grading that the step two midterm check-in today so that you'll have that feedback right away. And then also make sure that you're staying on top of the quizzes that are due and the reading. Last thing, remember that you have 2 submissions for each quiz. Now, I know the content very well because I selected it and also read it prior to you having a chance to review it and learn from it. So if you have submissions that get a deduction of points, it's typically because you either didn't answer the question completely or your response didn't really show the depth of perspective that was required. Please make sure if you have any questions about what the expectation is, go to the rubrics section, which has been up for the entire duration of the course, and it doesn't have a prerequisite for you to complete anything. Because I am expecting you to really, really, really dig deep. Try to do some personal reflection of your teaching practices so that you can figure out how to improve. Even if you feel like you're at your greatest moment of teaching, there's always room for improvement. So I encourage you to implement and also reflect. My best asset I can give you, or best skill, is reflective practice. Even when my students were doing very well, I wanted them to do better. So one of the highest ratings that I've ever received within my evaluations is always on reflection because I'm constantly thinking of how can I improve. So, for example, say your classroom is going great and your curriculum is not disabled. Uh, what about other ways in which you may be creating barriers for students? What about ways in which you're allowing for multiple representations of things? Um, what about ways in which you're not creating engagement where students can participate completely? They may be engaged partially, but they're not empowered to be their full selves in your classroom. Think about those things as we enter into week 4, which is a focus in on principles. So for the next, I think, 2 modules, there will be a particular focus on one principle on purpose, and that's so you can get really well versed with it, and you can strengthen your skills in developing guidelines and checkpoints within your lesson plans. Just so you know, the rest of the course after module 5, I believe, let me just take a close look, goes into differentiated instruction in addition to UDL, because I know differentiated instruction is something that all of you use practically probably on a daily. This module, module 4, it puts in a blend of a consideration for multicultural education planning, which is super important. So I hope that your group gets to that opportunity, because honestly, as educators, we often forget how different we are from our students and how our upbringing, also our cultural background and ethnic dispositions change the way we look at the world, and also change the way we create our classroom environment. So this is a super important aspect to consider when you're trying to create multiple means of action and expression, because you have to kind of go outside of yourself and your thinking in order to create opportunities for students that fit their cultural standing or even their ethnic background. So this week is particularly important. The video gives you an opportunity to do some reflective dialogue where you discuss and kind of deliberate how do you improve practice from a cultural standpoint, where you can kind of stand back and look at the differences that you can create within your curriculum planning using UDL guidelines and checkpoints that will empower all students, regardless of their culture and their ethnic background, to be able to express themselves in your classroom and have multiple ways of showing their comprehension levels. So, sorry about the really long announcement. Actually, I shouldn't say sorry, because the last one was kind of long too. I will have these things written in as well, and I hope that you have a very productive week. If you get as much done this week as you can, by Friday, your lesson plan should be done. The checkpoints should really serve as a guide for you. If you have questions, please send them to me. I do respond typically right away, less than 24 hours, because I am online a lot and I am here to assist you. Have a great day.